revealed how a cleaning lady's incredible act of love protected a millionaire's special daughter. Lisa's heart raced as she glanced at the grand mansion before her. The sprawling lawn with perfectly trimmed hedges contrasted sharply with her own modest home a few streets away. She was just a cleaning lady, wearing the same tired clothes every day, but today, her spirit burned bright. She had 2 little ones to care for now, and she would do anything to make their lives better, even if it meant scrubbing the floors of wealthy families who often looked down on her. It was during one of her regular visits to the Hughes household, a family with wealth that seemed to spill from their pockets, that she stumbled upon Emily. The little girl was tucked away in her room, her sobs echoing through the house like a haunting melody. No one else heard. Lisa hesitated at the door, her hand hovering over the doorknob. She thought about her own children and how she would want someone to help them if they were in pain. Finally, she couldn't hold back. She pushed the door open. Emily sat on the floor, surrounded by half-finished art supplies, and her drawings lay crumpled around her. Tears rolled down her cheeks, leaving streaks on her face. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Lisa whispered, kneeling beside her. They locked eyes, and for a brief moment, the burdens of their respective worlds melted away. "They laugh at me at school," Emily choked, her small voice breaking. Something in Lisa's chest tightened. She felt a familiar ache, a mama bear ready to protect. Days turned into weeks as Lisa began to form a bond with Emily. In between dusting and mopping, she would sit with the girl, coaxing her to paint, to express her feelings in colors that spoke where words fell short. "Look, Emily! This blue is like the sky," Lisa would exclaim, and she would watch as Emily's eyes lit up for the first time in ages. In those moments, their differences vanished, and love began to flourish. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But not all was smooth sailing. Thomas Hughes had noticed Emily was changing. He scoffed when Lisa would linger after her work was done, as if his own daughter's happiness was a trivial affair. "You don't belong here," Thomas said one evening, his voice dripping with condescension. Regardless, Lisa stood firm. She was not just a cleaner, she was a mother who knew the weight of defeat and the power of resilience. Then came the day. The one that would change everything. A bully, emboldened by misplaced confidence, cornered Emily after school. Lisa felt the panic rise in her chest when she heard the frantic whispers among the community. She rushed to the school, heart pounding, to find Emily alone and scared. In that terrifying moment, where Emily's safety was threatened, Lisa made a decision that would bridge the chasm of privilege and challenge the very norms of their segregated worlds. As the dust settled, whispers trailed behind Lisa, those in the neighborhood marveling at her bravery. Would this be the moment that sparked change, both in the hearts of the affluent and the underprivileged? Yet, with every inch of courage, Lisa would find herself facing the stark reality of class barriers and harsh judgments. When the truth of that day revealed itself, Lisa would have to decide, could she risk everything for a girl who had somehow stolen her heart? Or would societal lines prove too deep to cross? The tension thickened, leaving readers struggling with the question, what does it take to truly connect with another soul when the stakes are so high? The following day, Lisa walked into the mansion with a heaviness in her chest. The whispers from the neighborhood still echoed in her mind. "Did you hear about what she did?" they had said. The community's mixed reactions weighed on her. Some praised her bravery, others raised eyebrows, questioning why someone like her would intrude on their world. She took a deep breath and focused on why she was there. Emily. The girl who had captured her heart and reminded her so much of her own children. But today, when she entered the grand hallway, she didn't see the usual warmth radiating from their happy home. Instead, the air seemed thick with tension. "Lisa," a voice boomed from behind her. It was Thomas, his expression a storm cloud. I need to talk to you. Her pulse quickened. He led her to a formal sitting room, an opulent space filled with shiny furniture and fancy decor, a stark contrast to the warmth of her own small home. She felt out of place, just as he intended. Why did you interfere? He demanded, his frustration evident. Emily doesn't need you. She needs professionals, people of our stature, not some cleaning lady stirring trouble. Lisa bristled at his words. But she needs support, Mr. Hughes. She was hurt, scared. We all need someone to stand up for us at times. His eyes narrowed, and Lisa realized this confrontation went deeper than she anticipated. You don't understand. This is about reputation. My daughter is fragile in a world that demands perfection. And you think you could just come in, and she cut him off. But haven't you seen her? She is thriving when she paints, when she expresses herself. This isn't just about protecting your image, this is about her happiness. What do you know about happiness? He shot back. You live in a completely different world. The room grew silent, and Lisa felt a wave of anger mixed with sadness wash over her. I know that love doesn't care about class or money, she replied, her voice softening. Love is lifting someone up, making them feel safe. But Thomas stood unmoved, caught in his own fears and expectations. You jeopardize everything, he said, pointing a finger at her. If this gets out, the consequences could be dire for all of us. Lisa's heart sank. He was right. The stakes were rising, and the walls were tightening around them. Could she fight against a world that seemed built on privilege? Determined, she spoke through the impending dread. Maybe it's time for both of us to face our fears. If we want Emily to feel safe, we need to be brave. Together. As those words hung in the air, the two exchanged a long, charged look. A flicker of uncertainty moved across Thomas's face, but he quickly masked it with a scowl. I will not tolerate your insubordination, he warned. I'm not asking for permission, Lisa replied, fire igniting in her stomach. As she turned to leave, she felt a strange mix of anger and hope. Despite the odds stacked against them, something deep within her told her she needed to continue this fight for Emily. But just as she reached the door, she paused. What was waiting for her outside this grand home? Would the community turn against her for trying to help a girl in need? Would her own children be safe if her actions led to consequences? The uncertainty loomed larger as she stepped out into the sunlight, leaving the mansion as shadows behind but carrying the weight of a new resolution. Lisa vowed to forge ahead, even when fear whispered doubts in her ear. Little did she know, the real challenge was just beginning and the impact was about to ripple far beyond their small sphere of life. Would her courage inspire change, or would it ignite a battle far more daunting than she imagined? As Lisa stepped outside, the sun hit her face like a warm embrace, but it did little to dispel the chill in her heart. Each step she took felt heavier, planting itself into her resolve. She had to find a way to help Emily. That girl needed a champion, and Lisa refused to back down just because the stakes were higher than she had ever anticipated. Turning down the driveway, she could hear the murmurs of the neighborhood. The whispered judgments followed her like shadows. Who does she think she is? Echoed in her mind, but she pushed against it. With every ounce of her being, she longed for a way to break this cycle of silence and fear. Someone had to speak up. Determined, she made her way to the small arts center down the street where she volunteered. The vibrant colors of paint splattered across the walls brought her a moment of comfort. This was where she could connect with the kids, where creativity flew free and walls didn't exist. When she walked through the door, she was met with familiar faces, but the warm welcome felt different today. The excited chatter of kids painting came to a standstill as they picked up on her unusual tension, their curious eyes studying her. Ms. Lisa, are you okay? A small voice asked, concern etched on the young girl's face. Yes, sweetie, I'm fine, Lisa replied, forcing a smile. Just a little tired. Let us get to some painting, shall we? I want to see everyone's masterpiece today. But as the children settled into their activity, her mind drifted back to Emily. She saw the girl's face bright when she painted, dimmed when the world swallowed her joy. The contrast pricked at Lisa's heart like thorns. What if I offer her a space here? She thought suddenly. What if I could create a safe haven where Emily could express herself freely? The idea sparked a flicker of hope in her mind. She needed to speak to the Arts Center director, Greg. He was passionate about helping kids, and maybe, just maybe, he would understand why Emily's voice needed to be amplified. After some minutes of painting, Lisa approached Greg. He looked up from his paperwork, a warm smile spreading across his face. Hey Lisa. Everything all right? She took a breath. I need to talk to you about something important. A frown took over Greg's friendly expression, and he nodded for her to continue. Lisa explained Emily's situation, painting a vivid picture of the girl's talent and struggles. The excitement in Greg's eyes grew as Lisa spoke, eager to rally behind such a dynamic cause. Of course, we can do this, he exclaimed. We can create art workshops, make it a community event. It'll be brilliant. This will instill confidence and give her a platform. Lisa felt the weight of her worries lift, at least for a moment. The realization that her vision could come true was exhilarating. They spent the next hour mapping out ideas, listing supplies needed, and how to reach out to the community. But as they finalized their plans, a nagging worry crept back into Lisa's mind. What if Thomas found out? What if he tried to put a stop to it? She knew he wouldn't take kindly to anyone questioning his authority over Emily. Just as Lisa was about to voice her concerns, a loud crash interrupted the conversation. They all turned toward the commotion. An older boy had accidentally knocked over a table filled with paint supplies, vibrant colors spilling everywhere. Gasps filled the room, and Lisa rushed over. As she helped clean up, her mind raced through the possibilities. What if this one mistake, this one moment of chaos, could bring the community together? Maybe, just maybe, it could create empathy and break down the very walls that Thomas was so desperate to uphold. As Lisa mopped up a bright red splatter, an idea began to form, one that could not only save Emily but change the entire narrative in the neighborhood. But first, she would need to confront Thomas again. Would she be strong enough to face him one more time, risking everything for Emily? As the last remnants of paint spilled onto the floor, Lisa clenched her fists, a surge of determination coursing through her. This mess, often seen as a disaster, felt like the perfect opportunity. She had always believed art had the power to heal, to connect. If she could harness this energy, maybe it could be a catalyst for the change she desperately sought. Hey everyone! She called out to the kids as they gathered around, their faces painted with concern and curiosity. Let's make this a little fun. How about we turn this chaos into something beautiful? Let's blend those colors together. Who's in? The children's eyes lit up at the idea. They instinctively recognized the spark in Lisa's voice, some of them nodding enthusiastically. The mood shifted, the air filled with laughter and excitement as they dove into the splatters, mixing colors creatively instead of cleaning them up. For Lisa, every laugh echoed in her heart, reminding her of why she was there. Amidst the artistic chaos, Lisa's heart raced as she thought about confronting Thomas. The reality of his control over Emily was suffocating, but as the children began to paint a mural out of the spilled paint, a wave of courage washed over her. That evening, she sat at home, the sun setting against the horizon, painting a picture in her mind of what tomorrow could bring. The workshop announcement would go live online. They would showcase Emily's art, share her story, and perhaps even lure others in the community who knew what she faced. It wasn't just about Emily anymore. It was about everyone who felt voiceless. But the gnawing frustration about Thomas lingered. He would not just sit back and allow this to happen without a fight. She had seen the way he dismissed Emily's needs, how he silenced any hint of dissent. Still, Lisa reminded herself of the reason for this initiative. It wasn't only about confronting him. It was about giving Emily and other children in the town a chance to express themselves, to feel seen and heard. With her heart in her throat, Lisa decided to confront him the next day. The thought sent chills down her spine. Would he lash out? Would he threaten her? Every worst-case scenario played through her mind like a movie reel. But she couldn't allow fear to hold her back. As she lay in bed that night, the stars twinkling outside her window, she thought about Emily's radiant smile on the day they first met. It flickered dimly now like a candle in the wind. Lisa felt a surge of love and protection for this girl. She had to be strong, not just for Emily, but also for herself. This was about empowerment. The dawn broke brightly, a new day unfurling its wings. Lisa took a deep breath, reinforced by the vibrance of that mural created from chaos. She could do this. Walking to Thomas's home felt surreal. Each step propelled by a mixture of fear and unwavering hope, she reflected on the beautiful art, the laughter, and the purpose that drove her. Each moment she had spent with Emily fueled her resolve. This wasn't just about art, it was about freedom. As she reached the door, she could feel her heart pounding, a wild drum echoing in her chest. She raised her hand to knock, steeling herself for whatever awaited on the other side. What would Thomas say? How would he react? She knocked, and for a moment the world stood still. What if this moment could transform everything they knew? What if it could finally give Emily the voice she so richly deserved? A voice from inside called out, and with a deep breath, she stepped into the unknown. The door creaked open, and Lisa was met with the icy glare of Thomas. He stood there, arms crossed, a wall of authority that loomed larger than life. His expression was hard, unyielding. Just behind him, Lisa caught a glimpse of Emily, her small frame retreating into the shadows of the hallway, like a flower wilting in the dark. "Lisa," Thomas said, his voice low and gravelly. "What do you want?" "I need to talk to you about Emily," she replied, forcing the words out despite the quivering in her voice. She quickly pushed down her initial shivers of fear. Each second in this doorway felt like a lifetime. "Talk?" He laughed, a sound filled with mockery. "What could you possibly have to say about my daughter?" Her heart raced, but she wasn't backing down. Today was not just about Emily. It was about countless kids who felt trapped, who watched their dreams flicker out like candles in the wind. "I want to help her, Thomas. She has a voice that deserves to be heard, and it's time we let her express herself." He stepped forward, mouth twisting into a sneer. "Emily doesn't need your help. She needs structure, discipline. You're a nobody, and you think you can come in and fix everything with your ridiculous ideas?" Lisa felt a burning heat rise in her cheeks. "I'm not trying to take her away from you. I just want her to have the chance to be happy." Thomas interrupted her, raising a hand in dismissal, his voice icy. "Happiness? You think that's what life is about? I'm providing for her, giving her everything she needs to succeed. You have no idea." As anger bubbled up inside her, Lisa remembered the paint-covered children from the day before. Their laughter, their collaborative joy in creating something beautiful, it was everything. This wasn't just a debate about parenting, it was about the very essence of being. She took a deep breath, channeling the strength of the mural that radiated hope, and pressed on. Emily is not just a project to manage. She is a human being who deserves to explore, to be creative, to breathe. The moment felt charged, like a thunderstorm brewing. For a heartbeat, she wondered if Thomas could hear her. Would the man standing before her feel anything at all? He narrowed his eyes, studying her. "You think you're her savior?" He scoffed, the scorn wrapping like a noose around the air between them. "I don't want to save her, I want to empower her," she shot back, her voice rising with newfound passion. "But you're afraid of losing control. You're scared of the very thing that makes her special, her creativity, her spirit. That's not just about being a parent, it's about being a human being with heart." Lisa could see a flicker in Thomas's expression, a momentary crack in his armored facade. But before she could seize her chance, he leaned in closer, his voice turning cold as ice. "You'd do well to remember your place, Lisa. No one is asking for your opinion." A silence fell over the room, heavy and suffocating. Lisa's heart hammered in her chest. She could feel the stakes rising higher. Was this the point where everything could change? Or was she merely stepping into a trap laid by his expectations? "Emily deserves this chance," she whispered, her voice trembling with fervor. Across the threshold, Emily shifted uncomfortably. Her soft blue eyes flickered with confusion. Lisa glanced back, and in that brief connection, she saw the tiniest spark of rebellion. Would finding her voice be too heavy a burden for Emily? Or was this the moment that would ignite a change they both so desperately needed? Before she could voice her thoughts, Thomas broke the silence with a finality that sent a chill down Lisa's spine. "You have no idea what you're getting into." And just like that, with those few words, he turned his back on Lisa, leaving her standing on the threshold of his house, still hoping to reach the light in Emily's eyes before it faded forever. As she stepped outside, her heart a storm of uncertainty, she couldn't shake the feeling that the true confrontation was yet to come. She would find a way. She had to. But what would be the cost of her battle against the walls Thomas had built? As Lisa stepped away from the house, the chill of the evening air wrapped around her like a shroud. Her heart was still hammering in her chest, and her breath came in quick, sharp bursts. She paused on the stoop, glancing back at the darkened doorway. The weight of Thomas's words lingered like a cloud of despair. "You have no idea what you're getting into." What did he mean? Was he just trying to intimidate her, or was there something more beneath his fury? Questions danced in her mind as she made her way to her car, but the most pressing one was about Emily. She gently brushed the tears from her cheeks, determined not to let them fall. During her walk to the car, she played through her plan over and over. What could she do to help Emily? Today had been a battle, but she knew the war was far from over. As she opened her car door, she noticed her phone buzzing on the passenger seat. It was a text from Maria, a fellow teacher from the after-school program. "Hey! Are you okay?" Heard some commotion. "Want to talk?" Lisa took a deep breath before typing back. "It's about Emily. She needs more than what her dad allows." She hit send and rested her head back against the seat. The interior of the car was warm, a stark contrast to the turmoil in her gut. "Lisa? Are you there?" Maria replied quickly, worry radiating through her words. Lisa hesitated. "I'm okay, but I'm worried about Emily. I think I need to do more. How? You can't fight that man alone. He's got a reputation, you know." "I know." The tension in Lisa's neck tightened. "But we're not talking about a deal with a corporation. We're talking about a kid who is struggling for her voice." "True." Maria's reply came slowly. "What are you thinking? Was she crazy for even considering it? Maybe we could get a group together. Other parents, teachers, people who believe in what we're doing." A long pause followed, and Lisa's confidence faltered. Was she aiming too high? Was this a fight she even had the energy for? "I think that's crazy enough to work," Maria finally typed, a spark of enthusiasm igniting in Lisa's heart. "Let us do it. You're right, Emily deserves more than this." The rush of adrenaline coursed through her. "Okay, let us meet tomorrow. We'll plan something simple, just to get the ball rolling." As she started the engine, determination coursed through her veins. After everything she'd faced today, sitting back passively was not an option. Yet even as she pulled away from the curb, doubt crept into her mind. What if it all fell apart? What if she stirred the pot just to find herself in hot water? Her phone buzzed again, cutting through her spiral of thoughts. "You'll need to be brave," Maria wrote. "We can't change anything if we don't step out of the shadows." "Maybe I'll be brave enough for both of us," Lisa whispered to herself, her grip tightening on the steering wheel. That night sleep evaded her as she pored over her ideas and plans. Her mind raced with 100 different outcomes. Would Emily be ready to step forward? The next day, Lisa found herself at the coffee shop, nerves roiling in her stomach. She arrived early, sipping her drink as she awaited Maria's arrival. Seconds felt like hours. But she had something important to share. A vision that could change everything for Emily. As she waited, the door opened abruptly, and in rushed Emily's mother, Anne. The last person Lisa expected to see. "What are you doing here?" Anne's voice was sharp, cutting through the air like glass. "What?" Lisa asked, taken aback. The heat of unspooled tension flared between them. "I know you've been meeting with Thomas." Why are you trying to interfere? The word stung, but Lisa wasn't about to back down. I'm trying to help Emily. And scoffed, crossing her arms defensively. Help her? Or help yourself? The confrontation loomed larger than life before them, and Lisa's heart sank. Did and no more than she was letting on? The fear of what lay ahead threatened to engulf her. A question loomed unanswered in the air. Was anyone truly ready to fight for Emily's future? Lisa barely had a moment to process Anne's accusations when the coffee shop around them faded into the background. The clatter of dishes and the murmur of customers felt muffled, as though the world had narrowed down to just the two of them, locked in a silent battle. I have every right to be involved in my daughter's life, Lisa retorted, her voice steady, though it quivered under the weight of emotion. Emily deserves a voice. She deserves someone who cares. Anne's expression shifted, the harshness in her eyes softening just slightly. And you think you're that person? Just because you feel sorry for her? It's not pity. It's concern. The words spilled out, each carrying the weight of all the moments she'd seen Emily suffer. You aren't seeing what your daughter goes through. She needs support, and maybe you do too. That's none of your business, and shot back, her anger rekindled. You don't know me, or my life. Just stay out of it. Brian, a barista, glanced up from behind the counter, sensing the tension. Lisa shot him a quick look, her heart pounding. She felt exposed, like the whole cafe was watching. What if they were? The truth was too raw to hide. Why are you so defensive? Lisa pressed gently, lowering her tone. This isn't just about you. Emily is struggling because of the situation at home. You can't deny that. Anne's arms fell to her sides, the fight momentarily leaving her. Do you think I want this for her? I've been trying my best. The sorrow in her voice broke through the anger. For the first time, vulnerability edged its way into the conversation, and Lisa could see it, a flicker of pain hiding beneath the surface. Taking a small step closer, Lisa softened her approach. Then let us work together. We can build a network, get other parents involved. We can make a change for Emily's sake. Why should I trust you? Anne blinked, wiping a sudden tear from her cheek. Because I believe in her, Lisa replied, her conviction radiating from her. If we stand together, we can create a real foundation for her. We can fight for her future. A heavy silence settled between them, both women searching each other's eyes for answers, for understanding. In that moment, some part of Lisa thought she saw recognition in Anne's gaze, a flicker of hope reflected back. I don't want to fight, Anne finally whispered, her voice filled with hesitation. I'm just scared. Me too, Lisa admitted, feeling the weight of the emotional journey looming ahead of them both. Before Anne could respond, a sudden crash from the back of the cafe made them jump. Their eyes darted toward the sound, a distant commotion disrupting their moment. Did you hear that? Anne's expression shifted into bewilderment, momentarily forgetting their argument. Yeah, let us check it out, Lisa suggested, a nervous curiosity bubbling inside her. As they moved toward the source of the commotion, the atmosphere shifted, tension replaced by uncertainty. What awaited them might change everything. Just as they approached, Lisa's phone buzzed in her pocket. She fished it out, heart racing when she saw Maria's message. Me and a couple of parents are ready to launch a plan. Are you in? Swallowing hard, Lisa glanced sideways at Anne, her mind racing. This was more complicated than she thought. What if they decide to fight back? She wondered aloud as they pushed through the crowd toward the noise. Did she have what it takes to face whatever danger lay ahead? Would Anne stand with her, or were they still worlds apart? With trepidation, they reached the back room, bracing themselves for what they would find. Whatever awaited them could redefine everything for Emily, for Anne, and for Lisa. The back room was a chaotic swirl of noise and movement. Lisa squinted through the dim light, her heart thrumming wildly as she pushed past the knot of people. The crash they had heard was from a table that had tipped over, and now coffee dripped across the floor like a spilled secret. A few patrons stood near, whispering as they shared concerned glances, but nobody seemed inclined to intervene. What happened? Lisa breathed, her voice barely above a whisper as she studied the scene. And S' shoulders stiffened beside her. I'm not sure. Maybe someone got a little too rowdy before she could finish. A small figure darted past them. It was Emily. Her hair looked windswept, and her cheeks were flushed, but it was the wild look in her eyes that struck Lisa most. The girl stopped short, scanning the crowd with a mixture of fear and determination. Emily! Lisa called, cutting through the noise. The girl hesitated and glanced back, her expression shifting as she recognized Lisa's voice. What happened? Lisa stepped closer, hoping to catch Emily's eye, but the girl turned away instead. They're talking about me, Emily murmured, her tone barely audible. The other kids, they don't understand. Understand what? Anne interjected, moving to Emily's side, her anger momentarily forgotten. Talk about what? About all the times I'm in the counselor's office, Emily replied, eyes glistening with tears that she stubbornly refused to spill. They think it's my fault. Lisa's heart sank. You have nothing to be ashamed of, Emily, she urged gently. People often don't see how hard things can be. But you don't have to face this alone. As Emily considered the words and stepped forward, placing a hand on her daughter's shoulder. You are strong, sweetie. None of this is your fault. I just wanted to have friends, Emily whispered, her voice choked with hurt. But everyone just stares at me like I'm a freak. Emily, Lisa said softly, feeling the lump in her throat. This was a pivotal moment. Everything they had been discussing was converging right here, right now. Listen, Lisa continued, we need to turn this into something positive. You're not alone anymore. Your mom and I want to help you. And looked at Lisa, confusion swirling in her eyes, but then she nodded slowly. What are you saying? There's a group of us parents forming a support network. We want to help kids like Emily, give them a voice, a place to feel safe. Emily's gaze flickered between them, a hint of surprise breaking the surface of her pain. Do you really think that will work? Lisa swallowed, feeling the weight of her own promise. Yes, we're going to show them how incredible you are. We'll organize meetings, invite everyone. Change has to start somewhere, right here. For the first time, a spark ignited within Emily. What if they don't care? Her voice was soft, but it was edged with a newfound determination. They will, Anne asserted, gripping Emily's shoulder tighter. What we need is to stand together. The blood rushed in Lisa's ears, the swell of emotions threatening to spill over. She could feel the change, not just in Emily, but between them all. They were on a precipice, ready to jump into something bigger than themselves. However, before they could savor this moment, another crash echoed from the front of the cafe, followed by a sudden rush of voices. What now? Lisa muttered, fear creeping back in. They turned just as the crowd parted. A tall man burst through, his face contorted with anger. I've had enough of this nonsense. Lisa's instincts kicked in. Something about his presence felt menacing. Could this be the fallout they all feared? With anxiety threading through her, she stepped forward, ready to face whatever was about to unfold. Whatever this was, it wouldn't end without a fight. But would they have the strength to stand together, or would fear shatter the fragile hope they'd just begun to build? The moment of truth was charging toward them, and there was no turning back now. The man's presence seemed to suck the air out of the room. Lisa felt her heart race as he stormed forward. Dark eyes glinting, he glowered at the trio, demanding the attention of those who had been so raucous just moments ago. Do you think this is a joke? His voice boomed, each word sharp enough to cut through the chatter. I've tried to be patient, but I can't watch this anymore. The crowd fell silent, eyes darting between him and Emily, who was frozen with confusion. Who do you think you are? Lisa's voice rose instinctively. You can't come in here and just sit down, woman! He snapped, spinning to face her. You don't know what's really going on here. A chill spread through Lisa as his hostility filled the space around them. She saw Anne's expression shift to concern, and Emily's face was pale with fear. They were all teetering on the edge, ready to slip. What do you know about us? Anne spoke up, her voice trembling yet firm. You don't understand what these kids go through. They face stigmas you can't even comprehend. They're a distraction, he spat back. People like her, he pointed at Emily, make this place a breeding ground for dysfunction. I work too hard for this nonsense. A wave of anger surged through Lisa. She couldn't stand by and let him belittle Emily, not when they were all trying to bond over this struggle. That's the problem. You're too fixated on your version of normal. Emily deserves compassion, not scorn. She's a freak. He barked, and Lisa felt like she'd been punched. Emily flinched, a flicker of hurt flashing in her eyes. No, Lisa replied, her voice low but steady. She's a child trying to find her place in the world. Just like everyone else here. Emily stood taller, drawing a breath, and for that brief moment, hope twisted tightly in Lisa's chest. Everyone has their battles, Emily stated, standing beside her mother. Just because I'm different doesn't mean I don't belong. The man scoffed, shaking his head, but uncertainty flickered across his face. Lisa could see the moment he was beginning to question his own aggression. Maybe you should take a look at what you're teaching those around you, and added softly. You think this is a joke? This is our reality. We are here to support each other, not tear each other apart. The tension hung thick in the air. The crowd was still, caught between fear and admiration for their defiance. What if they don't care? Emily's earlier doubt replayed in Lisa's mind, echoing through her heart. Yes, how would they respond? Could they rise up against someone so easily dismissive of their pain? The tall man's face softened slightly as if he were finally listening, and there was a flicker of something unexpected in his expression. Was it regret? Or fear of being the villain in a story he didn't even know? Lisa took a step forward. What kind of example do you want to set? For her? For the others here? The moment stretched as he stood there, grappling with the weight of his words. Anne's hand tightened around Emily's shoulder, a warm shield. Lisa edged closer, feeling the rush of connection, of shared purpose. Just then, with a sudden surge, the man turned and slammed his fist against the nearby wall. I won't tolerate this nonsense for long. Stick to your little group, but don't think you'll change anything here. The crowd gasped, and Emily blinked back tears. Then we'll just have to try harder, Lisa whispered with fierce determination. Together. But as the man stormed out, leaving a charged silence in his wake, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The fight would be fierce and personal. Every story, every voice would need to rise against the hatred that quieted hopes. And as Lisa looked at Emily's trembling hands, a thought pressed against her mind. Would their collective strength be enough to withstand the storm brewing outside? As the crowd began to murmur among themselves, a palpable tension hung in the air. They were all waiting for a sign, a signal to rise up or cower back. Would they find their courage, or would fear grip them once more before they could truly unite? The murmurings shifted to whispers, a wave of uncertainty washing over the room. Lisa felt a surge of urgency. She couldn't let this moment slip away. Everyone, she called out, her voice rising above the discontent. We need each other now more than ever. Heads turned towards her, expressions mixed with confusion and concern. Emily hung back, her bright blue eyes large with uncertainty, seeking reassurance from her mother. Lisa stepped closer to the group, her heart thudding as she saw the flickers of fear mirrored in their faces. You've all been here, watching your children suffer in silence. She pressed on, her voice steady. Let us not keep suffering a secret. Emily and the others deserve to be heard. It's time we break down these walls. Suddenly, a hand shot up. It was a familiar face, Maria, joined by another parent. What do you suggest? She asked boldly. How do we fight back? Lisa felt hope bloom, their collective support electrifying the air. We create a platform, she declared, heat rising in her chest. A community art event. We invite everyone to showcase their creativity and their stories. We show them who we really are. Some began nodding. A low murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Let us bring in art supplies, set up displays, and share our kids' journeys. We can host it at the park and invite the entire neighborhood. We'll show them that love and creativity are stronger than their hate." As the spark ignited everyone else, Lisa caught Emily's gaze. The girl's eyes twinkled with wonder, a mix of uncertainty and belief. "Do you think they'll come?" Emily asked quietly. "Absolutely. They will see how beautiful you are when you share your art. You're not just a freak, you're a beacon of hope for others," Lisa said, her voice warm and filled with sincerity. More parents joined in, fueled with fervor at the idea. "We can spread the word, we can share the positive impact that art has had on our kids," someone shouted. With that, a wave of enthusiasm built momentum, shouts and laughter beginning to fill the cafe space. Plans were laid, and soon they were organizing a series of events to build awareness around art and mental health. Anne stood beside her daughter, pride radiating from her, and squeezed Emily's shoulder. "We don't have to face this alone," she said softly. "We're stronger together." But Lisa's heart still raced as she felt the barricades of fear begin to shift. They were banding together, but she could also sense a dark undercurrent. This wouldn't just be an art exhibition, they'd be facing Thomas, the tall man, and those who feared the change. Glimmers of doubt mingled with hope, intertwining like wildflowers in a field. Lisa decided then and there that no matter the cost, she would be the protector, the nurturer, just like she had been for Emily. "Tomorrow, we'll meet and start putting everything in place," she announced, her voice firm. "Let us make plans, set up teams, find volunteers. We are going to break the isolation that has wrapped around our kids. Together, we can build something powerful." As they dispersed, Lisa found herself smiling at the groups, chatting excitedly about their plans. The atmosphere was electric with the promise of change, laughter bled through the cafe air, and hope began to rise like a spring bloom. As she made her way out, her heart swelled with pride as she watched Emily and Anne begin to bond. No longer were they separated by shadows, they were stepping into the light. The following week arrived with the same electric heartbeat and event-gathering momentum that everyone in town was talking about. As children began arriving at the park, armed with paints and brushes, Lisa felt the empowerment crackling in the air. But just as the festivities began, the atmosphere shifted. The tall man returned, followed by a group of supporters, faces hardened with disdain. "What is this nonsense?" he shouted, cutting through the laughter. Lisa's heart dropped, but she refused to falter. "It's not nonsense. This is our community's chance to share our stories. It's about love and acceptance." Murmurs rippled through their crowd as people began to share their experiences, painting with emotion, showing their true selves. The defiance was palpable, hearts swelling under the vibrant hues displayed. "Look!" Lisa shouted, pointing to Emily, who was holding a canvas painted with swirling colors. "Emily is not a disgrace, she is a bright light. This is who she is. A beautiful, unique soul." At that moment, Emily stood tall, gripping her canvas. "You may not understand, but I'm proud of who I am," she declared, her voice ringing unapologetically. "And I won't hide anymore." The tall man gaped, the crowd shifting, some voices in support, others unsure. Lisa used this moment to stride forward. "This wasn't just for children, this is for all of us. Love knows no boundaries." As the barrier of fear began to crack, the crowd rallied, people confronting him, demanding change. And as the tall man stumbled back, Lisa felt the tide of transformation wash over them. It wasn't just an event. It was a revolution brewing, a burgeoning force against the ignorance that had once darkened their world. They were standing strong, united in creativity, laughter, and love. As the sun began to set over the park, the emotions were raw and alive, promising a new dawn. And in that moment, Lisa seized her breath, feeling the triumph wash over her, the light of hope blazing fiercely. Together, they had found their strength, their voices, their truth. "Your turn to stand up," she thought, looking around at her newfound family. The journey had begun, and together, they were ready to embrace whatever came next. So as you read this, what will you do? Will you stand up and join the fight for love and acceptance? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these important messages. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting our channel through these actions. Let us lift each other up.